it's been really interesting because obviously we have this crazy pandemic going on in the outside world, but I feel like I've been a bit in a bit of a bubble because I've had my baby boy like 2 weeks ago. I've just been focusing on that, focusing on getting the home ready, focusing on the health of my wife, and so on. So a bit distracted, and then obviously I have the new music out, so that's been great. Trying to focus on that and juggling all of it while having to wear a mask and stay 2 meters away from people. It's kind of ironic because I think as a society we were getting a bit obsessed with our technology, and now like we have no other choice but to use it, and we appreciate what we had so much more. But yeah, you just adapt and you make the best that you can of the situation. I think a lot of my inspiration comes from meeting people and being out and about, and I get my ideas while driving or walking, and so when you take that aspect away, you're kind of losing out on a big part of your creative process as well.
You were like the evening moon.
The human experience will always be the foundation of my music, like just how we relate to other people, how we relate to those we love and those we don't love. And I feel like music chose me. Like I didn't really choose it. It's something it just happened. I fell into it. I can't imagine my life without music.
Your light, and even though your hue was blue.
I think my first memories were playing guitar in school. Around the age of 6, I really enjoyed figuring out things and trying to go a step ahead. It made me appreciate like what I was being given, and I always wanted to make the most of it. People consider what I do neo soul or soul music, R&B. And I'm not afraid of that label. And I think it's just the music that comes to me most naturally. And I think that has to do with like the gospel upbringing and so on. I remember I first started writing songs around the time my parents got divorced. I think that was the initial trigger, and it was more like a comfort thing for me, like an outlet, an expressive outlet, just to process things. And then from then on it was just, this is how I communicate my feelings best, or how I feel in that moment. It best goes into a song. I would write songs for friends and for artist friends that I knew. And I think just at the time I wasn't very good, so maybe that's why it didn't really go anywhere. But now, then one day I just had some songs that I thought I was gonna sing for me, and that's how we ended up here.
Start firing if I keep on moving and keep on going. I'll make it just within season. How I'll do it.
I'm very aware of what I put out into the world and what kind of vibes I want to give people. And I think if I can uplift people, I try and do that. Still Life and Better Days both came from a frustrated place. Or more so Still Life. I was really wanting to make it in music, and life just felt still, and it was just kind of like an effort to just, all right, let's really give this a go. And then it did quite well, or better than I expected, and that's where Better Days came from. Like it kind of felt like, oh, I've turned a new chapter. And it was also about like what was happening a bit politically in the time. Like there was a lot of racial aggression towards minorities and so on. So that's some of the underlying tones of that EP.
I know that we'll be just fine in time.
With racism in the UK, there's prejudice, and sometimes you can go to a shop and be followed around, and it's quite obvious why you are being followed. So it happens. It happens, unfortunately. I think it's a balance. Like I think people might get tired if I was only singing about political issues and I'm more inclined to think about life and love on a personal level. I don't think you should be silent, but I don't think you should also. You don't always have to wave your opinion in people's face.
Baby, stop your crying.
With this new music, it's again just about. It's a bit more personal again. It's about just based on a story about human connections and wanting more and so on. I would find it difficult to write about something that I don't feel or haven't experienced. And I think there's a beauty when an artist is vulnerable. I think that's what attracts us to the best artists. Like, there's a reason we loved Amy Winehouse and so on, because she sung about, going to rehab, and it was an unfortunate reality, but it was real. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable and just show where I'm human as well. I think that's something the music world still needs to figure out about getting, touring not to be so detrimental to the environment. And I don't know what the solution is myself, but I think that there is one out there. And it's a balance, People want to hear your songs in Brazil, for example, and you have to think, okay, what's the best way to do this without killing the planet? Actually, my wife is very great at sustainable living, and it's really opened my eyes to how we can do better at this way of life. So, for example, when we shop, we take our our bags, we take our glass jars, we just buy the pasta or the rice directly from the store without using the plastic and so on. Just take your own containers and so on. Things like that just make a small difference.
I guess it's a lesson learned.
I think people are waking up to the fact that the way things have been done is not the way things need to continue. So whether that be not having a meeting from home or collaborating on a session over the internet, and that will all have an impact.